Good afternoon, everybody, and thanks for coming in for this early edition of Dota Trash. My name is Gorgon the Wonder Cow. It's my pleasure to be here for Game 3 of SNA versus North American Rejects. And please welcome my co-caster for the day, Blaze.
Happy to be here, man. Some awesome matches so far, and looking forward to what these two teams bring to the table for game number 3.
Yeah, this should be a really strong match. Sneaky Nyx Assassins starting to get into the swing of things. Maybe it was just early for them. They had a rough weekend. Maybe out too late last night drinking. They're not used to playing in the afternoon. I don't know what it was. But game 1 was just horrendous for them. Game 2 really came into it a little more smoothly. Though honestly, a lot of that felt like lethargy coming out of North American Rejects as well. So hopefully now both these teams have had their warm-up game. They've both gotten it out, and we can just consider this a best of one from this point forward.
Indeed, and in the best of one, anything can happen, so we'll see what these teams can stock up for Game 3. But I'm actually curious if the warding situation will change much at all. Now, this time around, of course, Sneaky Nyx Assassins are on the Radiant, but last time, their patented warding system failed them, as they did get sentryed out, and we didn't see some really great action from IX Mike for a little bit longer in the game. Still, of course, they took it away, and they have evened it up 1-1, but I'm just curious if they change up their strategy a little bit as far as their movement early on in the first minute or so, and maybe change out how they're going to play their offlane, if they need to play a little bit more defensively, if they need to move in a different way. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways to look at it, but one thing's for sure is that I think KOTH needs to be on a big active hero. Last time around, he did the best he could, and he carried pretty well, but it just wasn't sufficient when you consider how many playmakers Sneaky Nyx Assassin had instead. They were able to, just with some overwhelming teamfight potential abilities, they just were able to run all over them, and I don't feel that that's like how he likes to play. That's not how Snaking likes to play, that's not how KOTH likes to play, and really any Dota player is going to be at a disadvantage when it comes down to momentum shifts. So this time around, we get to see momentum-based heroes. We get to see the snowballing Puck, the snowballing Ember Spirit, and that's exactly the style that we saw in Game 1.
Yeah, Sneaky Nyx Assassins love this Naga Siren pickup. It is their failsafe in a lot of ways. Throwing her out in the mid, usually sometimes farming carry, get her that Radiance, but they do like to run it with that Ember Spirit. So very, very nice grab by North American Rejects to grab the Ember Spirit. A, because he's a good counter to Naga Siren. He has that Sleight of Fist to hit all of the illusions. But B, also because Ember Spirit usually runs alongside that Naga Siren. They come into the game around the same time. That Ember Spirit just a touch earlier, able to open up some space, and the AoE coming out of Flame Guard along with the Radiance coming out of the Naga Siren makes for very difficult mid-game fights.
Yeah. So I believe in this case it's going to be a carry Ember Spirit in the number 1 role, and that means, of course, KOTH gets his Puck opportunity in the mid lane. So I'm curious to see Naga Siren versus Puck, how that matchup plays itself out. Obviously, both players very skilled in their own right. We saw some great snipes from the Invoker last time around, so Naga Siren, obviously a different playstyle, but still can be played very effectively with some players that have great micromanagement skills. A lot of potential, but where do they go from the draft? Again, tapping into their bonus time early, it's really hard to say.
Yeah, I think the Bat Rider's probably going to come out for Sneaky Nyx Assassins, give that to IX Mike. The long disable on the lasso does give them the opportunity to A, grab Ember Spirit and pull him out, and B, get the opportunity to kill him, either him or the Puck. With a strong initiation, they also do have a tendency to like to run that Bat Rider with the Naga Siren so that they can have a space-created style strategy, that 4-for-1, where the Naga Siren has plenty of space to farm out, and they have a gank squad with a little bit of tower push coming out for the duration of the early game. So the Bane actually going to come out as a support for Sneaky Nyx Assassins. That's also pretty strong against both the Puck and the Ember Spirit. Able to hold them both in place with the Fiend Script, remove one of them with that Nightmare. What do you think?
I think that it definitely suits their needs in an offensive aspect, but the reliability of that is kind of called into question based on what heroes we already see on the board. Ember Spirit has the way of Searing Chains to cancel channeled effects. Puck able to Dream Coil or Waning Rift, assuming he can get within range with that blink. If they pick up something as simple as a Rubik for Phase 2, it's going to be almost impossible for Fiend Script to be considered a reliable disable, and that will be very problematic. But that being said, if they're committing that much of their draft just to make sure that one ability doesn't get cast, that leaves openings for Sneaky Nyx Assassins to be very active in other ways. Of course, they can go for maybe the Bane Mirana combo in the laning phase, maybe get a Blink Dagger up on Bane and try to put him right in the mix of things very quickly. There's a lot of different ways they can make it work. It just, by default...
So they're going to actually ban out the Mirana. So not only don't they want them, but they don't want North American Rejects to grab her. So that strikes me as a little odd. Mirana not usually going to be seen alongside an Ember Spirit Puck style combo. She could offlane in an aggressive try to give that Ember Spirit the solo safe lane. But for the most part, not a hero that I would have expected North American Rejects to be picking.
I agree. And at this point, Sand King will come through. A lot of magic damage, a lot of great supporting, and once he does get his Blink Dagger online, he's not only going to be able to disable at long range, but deliver huge amounts of teamfight damage on top of the Dream Coil. He dropped the Epi, and people just evaporate. And final thing to mention is that Caustic Finale and Sandstorm are both quite effective against the Naga Siren illusions, even if she does get her Radiance up at a good time. So just in general, AoE clear, AoE fight. It really means that Seeking Nyx Assassins have to position themselves very carefully. Like, if they misstep, they're going to be in for some trouble. But we might be seeing some wombo combo ourselves when you look at Naga Siren, Song of the Siren, into Vacuum and Wall. If they get any other stuns or other disables to follow through, this could bode extremely well for SNA's teamfight.
Yeah, SNA might be going for that Earthshaker that they ran game 1 in order to have that nice ulti in the middle of that Vacuum Wall Siren Song combination with the additional negative armor coming out of the Naga Siren and the long early game stun and area denial could give them a very nice little roaming gank squad with the potential for strong mid game. So far, though, we are looking at these picks having come out with the Nyx Assassin being banned out and the Doombringer. Doombringer makes a whole lot of sense. Nyx Assassin makes some sense, but maybe not quite as much. The AA being banned out by sneaky Nyx Assassins, no surprises there. He's one of the most popular heroes at the current meta for very good reason. And an AA alongside an Ember Spirit in lane is very, very dangerous.
I mean, there's certainly a lot of potential there, but I'm curious about how their laning phase will really run. I mean, IX Mike on the Darkseer, if he just goes straight jungle, of course he'll be safe, and it'll just be kind of a tried and true way to get his farm up. But if he tries to go into the lane and just Iron Chill down the creep wave, there is a lot of possibility that Ember Spirit could get a Searing Chains off. And if he does, the Burrow Strike is guaranteed, the Surge is useless, and that's going to be some easy farm for the Ember as he pushes on tower, as he farms out the creep wave, as well as getting a couple kills. And this is really what they want as far as momentum goes. Darkseer just doesn't offer enough to the lane to feel confident. I mean, not a lot of heroes do against an Ember Spirit Sand King, but what can you do? So in this position, adding on the Shadow Shaman, there's just so much kill potential between these two supports, either roaming in towards the mid lane against the Naga, or just setting up shop against the Darkseer.
Yeah, the Darkseer is going to work very well with that Naga Siren once she gets that Radiance up. We're talking about burn damage out the wazoo. It's got to be like, what, 155 burn damage per second to all heroes that the Naga Siren is in the process of fighting. Obviously, that Vacuum Wall, very nice, but Darkseer relying entirely on the Surge to stay alive, and the patented mustache-approved warding situation that Seeking Assassins typically relies on has been smelled out by North American Rejects. So we could be looking at, I don't know, IX Mike might get himself into a little bit of trouble. The Silencer coming out, that's a strong pick against the Ember Spirit and the Puck, but not a very common pickup.
10 seconds
so we'll have to see how comfortable they are running that hero, as it's not somebody that we see Seeking Assassins practicing with very often.
I think it has to be carry or a mid silencer. I mean, we have seen it support in the past, and the ulti is potent no matter what level you happen to be, but I just don't see Silencer and Bane doing all that much to thwart the endeavors of their opposition. And in general, I just think he needs to be in a very active position so that he can get his ulti up early and, not have only one cooldown used by like the 8 or 9 minute mark. Beyond that, I want to comment on the fact that Darkseer's wall isn't really that good against Dire's team. I mean, you look at the illusions of all these guys. Ember Spirit's stat gain is horrible. Agility scaling, minimal. So when it comes down to it, you can put all these guys on the wall and you're just going to do a quick burst of magic damage that most heroes will offer. What you need is follow through. You vacuum into wall after the song, you get that global silence off, awesome, but they need one more really awesome hero to pack the punch after they're all clustered together.
Yep, and they are looking at, I agree, it looks like they're looking at another support. I think that Silencer will probably end up going into the mid, but he could end up in the farming role and with that Naga Siren mid. They're fairly interchangeable, and I think whether or not that Puck is certainly going mid, or if the Ember Spirit is going to go mid, will sell Sneaking Assassins what they want to do. Because that Puck could be a pull the wool over your eyes moment, as the Puck might end up going in the offlane and send that Ember Spirit mid. But you don't want to do that up against the Silencer, because his mana pool is he's dependent on it, and it's very low to start the game.
Yeah, I think the Shadow Fiend would have been a good option if they were running the support Silencer. Now that it's banned out, maybe looking at a core Silencer with a support Jakiro, kind of vacuum on the Ice Path type deal, but really, the options are dwindling as far as what they can really follow through with, and they only have 40 seconds to make their decision. They're up against a Clockwork for the offlane. It's going to be pretty effective because this is freaking Brax we're talking about. Brax Clockwork is one of the most legendary things. Obviously, outside of his comfort zone as far as a lifestealer goes, but when it comes down to Clockwork, this guy knows his way around the offlane.
Yeah, this should be a little bit more within the comfort zone of North American Rejects. This is a very synergized team with huge, and there is the Batrider coming out, so they are going to go with that. SNA is going to run that Batrider. That looks like it is going to be, let's see, Ice Mike is going to be taking the offlane on the Darkseer, so SNA will be taking that Batrider. Ush will be farming up the Naga Siren, and that will be a support Silencer. I like the Batrider pick here. I think the Batrider pick works. My only concern is, once again, with the follow-through, because there's a ton of initiation coming in out of North American Rejects. And yes, Siren Song will mitigate a lot of that, but the fact that they don't have a whole bunch of follow-through damage until that Naga Siren gets going gives North American Rejects a huge window of opportunity for that quick level 6 on Shadow Shaman and the hard push.
Yeah, I definitely think the Batrider is very good against Ember, effective at maneuvering around when everybody's silenced up, slowing their turn rates, and all that good stuff, but I don't know if it packs the punch. We'll have to see in the team fights. They're either going to handily win the fights, or they're going to be getting people so low, like 20%, 30% HP, and then they can't finish the job, and it's going to be turned around in their face. But for right now, they're going to go with what they're comfortable with. They think this will work for them, and more power to them. Let's see how this goes. Game 3 of the best of 3 between Sneaking Assassins and the North American Rejects.
All right. We are going to see both teams going to the exact same location they've been able to go to the last 2 games. Brax is getting in position here, and they're actually calling out to walk around this top edge, it looks like, to try and grab themselves a gank. Brax is just going to wait here. Try to be that honor guard. Force SNA back. SNA's just going to charge in anyway. Fun is waiting. He does not have the Burrow Strike leveled yet, though, so saving it in case he doesn't need it. And they're just immediately going to counter-ward this. I don't know what SNA's thinking, doing the exact same warding that has already been counter-warded in front of their opponents.
Well, sometimes you can't always control that pull, and they'll just have to adapt and learn to play without it a little bit. But the worst-case scenario, they can send IX Mike to the jungle, and although that will limit a little bit of what the Batrider can farm up, it will still give reliable golden experience to IX Mike.
Yeah, the Darkseer is one of the better heroes to have if you're not going to block your opponent's pull camp too, alongside that Bounty Hunter, because he can walk in, drop that Ion Shell on one of the creeps in there, and just steal some of the gold and a fair amount of the experience from the rear side without putting himself in too much danger. That being said, why don't we go and run through some of the players here, as Sneaking Nyx Assassins do have themselves IX Mike on the Purple Crusader, that Darkseer. The other purple is going to be played by Whitebeard on the Bane. Meeting that lane is going to be the semi-purple helmeted Silencer on the Fluff and stuff. I'm starting to see a trend here. Ush breaking it out on that Naga Siren. And, of course, flying around and burning it up on the Batrider is going to be SNA himself.
Indeed. Looking over at the side of North American Rejects, we do have Brax on that offlane Clockwork. Very well suited for this laning circumstance. We are going to be seeing mid Korok Puck. Looking over at the carry role, that is going to be the Ember Spirit, already being hit by a little bit of Enfeeble, but that is going to be no coaches, a.k.a. Snaking. And we do have the Shadow Shaman supporting it up, 1-4-3-7. And finally, Sand King will be played by Fun.
This decision to throw Ice Mike in this aggressive tri-lane is a strong one, I think. They have literally everything they could possibly want to force someone back off of creeps. They have the mana drain that goes out from the Silencer onto the Ember Spirit. They have the damage over time from the Ion Shell. And, of course, they have Bane, who's going to reduce attack damage. So if Coaches is able to get in here and get anything at all, it's going to be a miracle. Yeah, so far, he's sitting on top of one creep hit. And he's going to be forced completely back off these neutrals as well.
Yeah, and his base damage isn't that substantial for a melee hero specifically. 56, you take 30
Brax
that away.
is going to go down here in the bottom lane. One more auto attack is going to secure it. No,
Wow,
he
6.
needs one more.
No!
Snob, man. Snob running into those cogs over and over again, desperately trying to get in range for that auto attack. Couldn't quite get it in the top lane. Fun and 1437 are trading off that nightmare. Playing a little bit of monkey in the middle there. Getting it going as the bottle is officially up on the Naga Siren. KOTH not sitting on his bottle yet, so that's going to give him a rune advantage at that 2 minute where the haste is seen out by both teams.
Yeah, in this position, haste will be on the Sand King. Really important for him because he can get that longer range burrow strike. And actually, KOTH is in a great position to bring down Ush. He does get the Waiting Rift, and all we need is a Sand King to charge in with that burrow strike to guarantee the kill.
And there it is, first blood going the way of KOTH. And then shortly after, the Sand King, of course, goes down into that tower, but well worth it. And wow, once again, up here, this Ember Spirit just having so much trouble. He's got 2 creep hits in 2 minutes. This is beginner pub style last hitting. And it's not his fault at all. He's hitting for 27 damage against the Ion Shell and against the Mana Drain and the damage coming out of the Silencer, who actually went for 1 level Glaives of Wisdom. So they're expecting to get kills. Yeah. Getting that Glaives of Wisdom early tells us that they're expecting to grab some kills.
Yeah, I mean, he actually started it with that level 1, so it's, I think, mostly just to get the orb harassment where you don't aggro the creeps and try to poke and prod at your opponent. Now making his move towards mid, he's going to get a last word off on KOTH. I don't think that's going to be a kill or anything, but it's certainly a nuisance.
Ooh, he's actually going to dodge with the phase shift. Very nice.
There used to be a different interaction with phase shift where you would actually still take the damage, but they did. That was a really, really, really old bug when Silencer first came into play, so obviously not applicable here. KOTH probably not going to be able to control the rune very effectively, though, despite being the more mobile hero. We just have more roaming from the supports of SNA, and I don't think he feels confident just going all by himself without any mana to any of the rune spawns.
Yeah, using that orb to get the rune is always a mixed bag, because if you get caught out over there, you are dead. And Nogzarn also got her bottle up first, so the ability for her to be moving around and get it came out a little earlier, and she has asserted herself. Of course, the only rune to come out so far has been on that Sand King. It does look like KOTH is going to take a guess at top, and he is going to guess right. Grab himself an invisibility rune. Very nice for his overall laning presence.
Yeah, and he only has his Dream Coil too, so he could easily use that TP scroll. No, he pops the invis, but he could wait it out, wait for the level 6, and then try to go on Ush here. He's sitting at about half HP, and patience isn't really a virtue of KOTH that I've seen, but it seems to be appropriate here. Nah, he'll break out. He'll clear it out, no problem at all, and Ush is probably going to have to Bottle Crow, as he, of course, didn't get the rune. And meanwhile, look at Fluff and stuff. He's rotating once again, this time down bottom, where there is 2 stacks of Sticky Napalm, and there's the last word. Right on Brax, dropping low. One more right click. Is it enough? No, yeah, with the Glaives of Wisdom. Oh, magic stick! There it goes. Not thwarted by the cogs this time.
Not really able to get away there, but did a very, very close job of managing to almost take down that Batrider in the face of adversity, as they like to say. Was still sneaking up here with 4 creep hits, so he's staying on the good old tried and true 1 creep per minute strategy. We'll see if it works out for him.
It's difficult. It's difficult. Yeah. It's a bold strategy at the very least.
He just can't get in and do anything. And this is such a farm-dependent hero. He absolutely needs to get damage up, otherwise he's basically useless. And yeah, look, his Sleight of Fist isn't even hurting creeps basically at this moment. He can't even last hit with it. Granted, that's due in part to the Bane throwing out that Enfeeble, but either way, he is just getting decimated up here. That's just going to buy SNA more time for this Batrider science strategy to hold him back. If he doesn't get going, he might never get going.
Yeah,
and that's the risk.
Look at one more thing on top of all that. We do see some aggressive movements, but there's no way that'll come to anything. Like, Shack will cancel instantly because there's no point in him being there. But
and the ward immediately counter-warded as well.
And Pursuit of Brax might not. I mean, he has the hookshot, he has the cogs. SNA could pursue this for a very long time. And I think eventually he could run him down. Gonna go for the lasso, pulling up to the cliff. And that is a bad spot to be in, to be sure. Brax at best can deny himself to the neutral creeps. And no, it's gonna go to the Batrider here.
That was a very nice play from SNA. He saw his opportunity to get a huge turnaround onto that. It looked like Clockwork was going to be absolutely safe, but knowing that you can grab him up onto that high ground, even though he did open up the opportunity for Brax to get out through those trees, it didn't end up mattering just because Brax had such a far distance to walk then a solid 3,500, 4,000 units cost. Ush is going to dive in. He's going to be hookshot by Brax, who just teleported in here in the mid. The cogs go up, and that is going to be a dead Naga Siren.
Good rotation to kind of respond if you have to die. But top lane.
Top lane, we're going to see some engagement here as Ice Mike is going to try to run away. Whitebeard not going to be engaged on too heavily here either. The Burrow Strike, there's not enough mana for it. There's going to be the re-engagement coming out of Bright. Fluffin Stuff throwing out that last word along with the damage over time and the glaive. And one more, no. There, the mana for the Burrow Strike came up just in time for Fun to come in and save 1437, who is trying to get himself back into the cover of darkness. And they didn't really care who they got a kill on there. They just wanted a kill.
Yeah.
And either way, the Burrow Strike did save that Shadow Shaman, arguably. Though it looked like Shadow Shaman might have gotten away anyway, so maybe a little over-aggressive coming out of the Sand King.
In fact, what I think is debatable is who's better to be killed off there. In the presence of the Silencer, you lose intelligence, and Sand King isn't really getting that much. He only has 247 mana points with the fact that he doesn't have any branches, so losing that intelligence is actually pretty detrimental.
Yeah, and the other thing to consider there is that the Blink Dagger on the Sand King much more important than the Blink Dagger on the Shadow Shaman, so getting his early farm up is overall a little higher priority. And the one other thing that I guess we might want to mention here is, as there is a re-engagement and teleportation coming top, so I guess I'll come back to this as the Hex goes out on Ice Mike. No Shackle. That Ethereal Shock is going to go out there, and now we are going to have the Shackle go out onto Whitebeard instead. Coach is getting very low. Snaking is probably going to go down here. You gotta run, buddy. You gotta run. The Burrow Strike. Puck is gonna come in, and Whitebeard will go down. Wow. There's gonna be the re-initiation coming up Bright. He wants that intelligence, and he wants your mana. He's gonna go for Kurok first, though. Kurok playing the gatekeeper, and Coaches grabs the kill from the outside. Wow, what a play.
Yeah, Snakey dropping so low, dodging out the Curse of the Silent, just juking in the trees. I'm absolutely dumbfounded that he was able to get out of that, but nice movement from him, and that makes up for a little bit of lost time. I mean, like he said, he had such a hard time fighting against the creep wave with that Iron Shell in the laning phase. Currently it's 13 CS, and people will look at that number and say, this guy's an idiot, but if you look at the numbers, the fact that there's a Basilius active on the Darkseer, while the Iron Shell is ticking away and he's enfeebled for 30 damage, he's literally Sleight of Fisting for 13 damage on a creep.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's no way.
Yeah, he's hitting effectively for like 11 whenever he tries to auto-attack a creep. He's doing basically no damage. It's like he's trying to pillow fight with these creeps, and he really needs to get himself a hammer or a block of cement or something to throw in that pillowcase and make sure that he's doing some damage. And they continue to throw the pressure on him because they know the longer they can keep this Ember Spirit occupied, the more time Naga Siren has to get going. If Ember Spirit isn't going by the time Naga Siren gets that Radiance and Yasha up, then they're going to be able to start pushing towers before the Ember Spirit gets going. With the Bat Rider, with the lasso, followed by that huge silence, if he's not able to escape and do damage regularly by the time this rotation starts to come out, once again, he might never see that day.
Top tower has fallen.
Difficult position to be in, to be sure. For right now, we do see Ember Spirit actually getting the steering chains onto SNA, and this should be a kill with the hook shot to set it up.
Oh, and there is going to be the lasso trying to buy himself some time. Getting Brax. The Flame Break actually pushes Brax away. The cogs go down, and he's going to back up. He's not going to secure this kill on SNA, and he might himself be going down as the flames are just doing increasing damage. Whitebeard going to come in, and there's the Brain Sap to secure that kill. Whoa, poor North American rejects who aren't. Oh, wow. Kurok popping an Invis Rune out of his bottle. He's going to come in. The Blink Dagger just went up on Mike, though. Or SNA, excuse me. So you seeing a Bat Rider on Sneaking Assassins and just saying Mike. The Blink Dagger did go up on SNA. He blinks away. He is almost going to get caught out by 1437, but the vision's just not there. He knows where he is. He just can't do anything about it. There's going to be the puck coming out on Fluff and stuff. The orb going out, and that is a very, very dead silencer. Now Whitebeard trying to clean up along with SNA. The wards go down first, though. Kurok going to come in. He does not have a Dream Coil, but he does have some auto attack. Walking over this fire, and probably not the most prudent of moves. He's actually taking a lot of damage here. He's going to go on and orb and top. The Bat Rider goes down. Wow. Talk about playing it on the edge. Kurok. I mean, I've always known he's an aggressive player, but that was just walking over those hot coals on the opportunity to potentially get a kill on a Bat Rider.
Yeah, and it was like so many small things. It was the turn rate slow. SNA had to misstep that far forward. If he didn't, then the angle wouldn't have been right, and he would have been killed instead. So it's actually really insane how much of a knife's edge that situation was.
Yeah, that really ends up rolling the way of All-American Rejects after that, and we do have 6-6. Sneaky Nyx Assassin sitting up in terms of gold by a couple thousand, down in terms of experience by about 500. Very close game so far. Really the only advantage that is on the table is that Sneaky Nyx Assassins do have that tower that All-American Rejects have not yet secured.
And that allows Alex Mike to pick up his mechanism at this time, and then he'll follow through with boots.
In the jungle, Kurok is going to be lassoed down. He's also got that last word out on him. He's taking a ton of damage. He's going to phase shift, try to get away. He doesn't... Yeah, he wasn't able to use his Blink Dagger, though, because of the damage going out. And, yeah, ends up going down. He actually only has level 1 of phase shift. So,
oh, wow. Really long shackle on the mic. He's going to have to Fiend's Grip to let him go, and that means Whitebeard is going to trade his life for the other.
Oh, he might actually get Fun here, though. No Fun is going to go ahead very narrowly get into...
Oh, deny! Very nice.
Wow, Bane. Whitebeard, buddy, playing it up. The Clockwork is just throwing out a missile here toward the mid lane, trying to save it.
Fluff just wrote on the map. Wow.
Yeah, wow is right. That self-deny. That is the second time we've seen a huge play come out of Sneaky Nyx Assassins so far this game, and they are showing why they are kings on this hill so far. Like, that game number 1 was deceptive. Watching that game, you'd be like, oh, what a bunch of scrubs these guys are. These are a bunch of washed-ups and nobodies. But if you've been watching the King of the Hill, if you've been watching SIVO, if you've been watching Thursday evening, Sunday evening Cup Series, you know these guys can really wreck it. And I'm glad to see that they're starting to wake up a little bit.
But at the same time, North American Rejects are really ready to make some things happen. They just got the Blink Dagger on the Sand King. Some double burrows are certainly on his way, and maybe even some great epicenter initiations. They're going to smoke it up, TPing into the mid lane and waltzing right on down bottom. They need to make up for lost ground. They lost 2 towers very recently. They do not have map control. They do not have the gold advantage, and they need to make something happen here.
Yeah, the Naga Siren is getting pretty close to her Radiant. She has enough for the Sacred Relic if she wanted to buy, and she did, in fact, just buy it while I was saying that. So she's got that out. That will be helpful. She might get this Radiance out around 15.5 minutes or so, which is really early for a mid Naga Siren to be getting that out in the face of what should have been a very mobile, early game, aggressive team. But All-American Rejects, or North American Rejects, excuse me, once again.
Oh no, top lane.
Top lane, coaches, oh, what are you doing? You're going to go down once again. He just doesn't have the maneuverability to avoid that, and that is that lasso-silence combination. Silence not even necessary for that, but certainly a nice failsafe. Now we're going to see some additional engagement as the puck comes in. Whitebeard is going to go and throw that up, but the mini-stun coming out of the Dream Coil is going to hold Whitebeard down, and 1437 will be walking away as Fun and Brax come in to mop up 2. SNA manages to grab himself 1 here as well, so that is a 2-for-2 trade. SNA now in a bit of trouble as Brax comes in, but he's got no mana, and the Blink Dagger, along with now a Force Staff, having been completed by the Bat Rider, getting him away. This is what Sneaky Nyx Assassins love to do. They're perfectly happy trading all game long to open up space for this Naga Siren, who's still not engaged, and we're looking at 9-9.
Yeah, absolutely, and she's like 350 gold off of her Radiance, no problem at all, and that snipe on Ember Spirit just gives them no confidence about his positioning now. They had that Observer Ward on the high ground, they saw that his Fire Remnant was there, and they just camped it. He jumped right back into it, and the second that he popped his Fire Remnants, they immediately blinked on top of it. They immediately got the lasso and a very clean kill. Of course, after the fact, there were some turnarounds, but that's just space created. That's Naga Siren farming up and 200 gold off of that Radiance. Now we see the smoke. Maybe they can shut her down, delay it a little bit longer, but right now she's in such a good way.
Oh yeah, they're running out of time. They've absolutely got to make this work, and they're going the wrong way to find her. No, they're going to tilt up. Fun is going to have the smoke pop. And they don't even see her. There it is. Okay, the Burst Strike's going to go out, and this is going to be a very
she bought it.
Unless she gets the Siren Song off, but she won't because of that very nice Shackles.
She still bought the Radiance, though. That last creep
did she get
camp,
it right before?
The last creep camp was enough for her to buy it. Korok on top. Gonna drop down. Phase Shift not going to be enough here. And yeah, they will push on the top tier 2, below 650 HP. So Naga will come back up in 25 with a full, fresh, shiny new Radiance, and they just lost a very core hero.
Yeah. They effectively just traded off that Naga Siren for a puck. They've pushed off her Radiance, its effective use time by, what, like 40 seconds or so? Which is something. I mean, it's not nothing, but their Ember Spirit still has brown boots and bracelets.
Oh gosh, really?
Yes. Taking a look at the items on the board, Radiant's out on Ush. Brown Boots Bracer out on Ember Spirit. They're doing such a good job of shutting him down. And he's such